We're now going to discuss the break-even point through this example. You decide to begin selling candied apples at a local park. Your cost per apple is $1.35, plus you must pay a fixed weekly fee of $150 for the booth. Your plan is to sell each apple for $3.15. Write a cost function, C of n, that represents your total cost for the week if you sell n apples. So again, C is going to represent the cost, n represents the number of apples, and C evaluated at n is going to give us our total operating cost for the week. Well, our costs are going to incorporate the fixed costs as well as the cost of the apples that we're going to need to purchase. The booth fee is $150, and that's one of our fixed costs. And we have to pay $1.35 per apple initially. So our cost function is going to be a linear function that depends on how many apples we purchase. In a word problem, the word per means essentially multiply. So we're going to be paying $1.35 per apple, or $1.35 times the number of apples that we're purchasing. So our cost function is going to start off with $1.35 per apple. But to that, we're going to add the initial cost, what we had to pay to rent the booth in the first place. And so this is our operating cost function. Now let's look at a function that represents the revenue from the sale of n apples for the week. Revenue is the same thing as income. It is not profit. Revenue is referring to the amount of money that we take in, and this is measured before any bills are paid. It's simply how much income we have to work with. Well, that depends on how many apples we sell. And if we sell n apples at $3.15 per apple, again, we can think of the word per as meaning multiply, and so our revenue function is going to be $3.15 for every apple that we sell. Now we're asked to find a profit function that represents the profit from the sale of n apples for the week. Profit is determined after we've paid all of our bills. So essentially we'll be looking at the revenue, or the amount of money that we brought in, and we would subtract all of our costs from that, and then anything that's left over would be considered the profit. So to get our profit function that depends on the number of apples that we sell, we'll take the revenue function and subtract the cost function. So our revenue function was $3.15 per apple, so we'll say 315 times n. And then from that, we're going to subtract the cost function that we just found. Now, in order to ensure that we're subtracting the entire cost function, we do need to open up a parens, and we'll say 135 multiplied by the number of apples that we purchase and sell, plus the $150 booth fee, and now we're just going to want to simplify. To simplify this, we'll distribute in the negative. Let's copy-paste our profit functional notation here on the left-hand side. We have 315n minus 135n minus 150. Now we combine like terms. 315 minus 135 is 1.8n minus 150. And this is going to be our profit function, 1.8n minus 150, which is now the answer to part C. Part D says, how many apples must you sell to make a positive profit? Again, our profit function is 1.8n minus 150. And let's notice that this is a linear function that can be graphed on a Cartesian plane to give us a little bit more context. The vertical axis is going to represent the profit, and the horizontal axis is representing the number of apples that we sell. Notice that the y-intercept is negative, and this should make sense since an ordered pair is going to be of the form n and then p at n, so the number of apples that we sell is the first coordinate and the associated profit is the second coordinate. Well, if we sell 0 apples, we have a loss of 150. If we haven't bought and sold any apples, we are negative $150, which is the cost of the booth. So from here we have a 1.8 slope, and in this concept drawing it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's just indicate a positive slope here, and what we're interested in is this point on our graph, which is going to give us the number of apples needed to get to a 0 profit, and then beyond that the profit is going to be positive. So we need to find this number n. Now doing this is also going to give us the break-even point. Finding this value of n is going to be the number of apples that we must sell in order to break even. Breaking even means that we have a profit that's 0. And algebraically what we can do here is plug in 0 for our profit and then solve for n to determine how many apples need to be bought and sold to achieve that profit. So solve for n, we add 150 to both sides to get 150 on the left, 1.8 n on the right, and then we'll divide by 1.8, and this is going to give us that n is equal to 83.33, which is the number of apples. Now, we can't buy and sell a fraction of an apple. In theory, this number would be rounding down to 83. But if we only buy and sell 83 apples, we're still going to be operating at a loss. In order to break even, we're actually going to have to go to 84. Otherwise, we're operating at a loss. Now let's go back up here to part D. We saw that we crossed the horizontal axis at 83.33 with a profit value of 0. And in order to break even, we said that we actually had to make a little bit of a profit. Let's just notice that the amount of profit that we get when we sell 84 apples is going to be 1.8 times 84 minus 150, which turns out to be $1.20, which is of course greater than 0. So to answer this question, how many apples must you sell to make a profit? We would need to sell at least 84 apples. 84 apples is going to give us a profit. 84 apples is what we need to sell in order to break even. If we only sold 83 apples, let's plug 83 into our profit function, we would end up with negative 0.6, which is negative 60 cents. Again, 83 apples is not enough to break even.